Hello, everyone. Welcome to Say It.
Hey everyone, so happy you are here with us today. I am Mike.
And I am Sarah.
Sarah, before we start, I want to try something, a quick challenge.
Go on.
2 sentences, which one is correct? First, I don't like neither of them. Second, I don't like either of them.
The second one.
Exactly. And do you know why the first one is wrong?
Because neither is already negative. Adding don't creates a double negative, and that changes the meaning entirely.
Most learners never realize that. And one more. A student sent a message this week asking about this sentence. I would rather to stay home tonight.
That sounds natural. Almost everyone says it, and it is wrong.
Either, neither, and rather. 3 small words, each one with more uses than learners expect, and each one with a trap inside it.
By the end of this episode, the traps are gone. But before we start, please like and subscribe to Say It. Every new like and subscriber motivates us to prepare more episodes for you.
Now, let's get into it.
Either, neither, and rather. 3 words that every learner uses, but rarely with full confidence.
And what connects them?
All 3 deal with choice and preference, but from completely different angles.
Show me.
Someone offers you tea or coffee.
Either is fine.
Both options are open. One of the 2. You don't mind which.
Neither, thanks.
Both options rejected. Not one and not the other.
I'd rather have water, actually.
A preference. Something different altogether.
Same question, 3 completely different answers.
And each one tells the listener something very different about where you stand.
So, either opens a door, neither closes both doors, and rather points to a third door entirely.
That is exactly it. And before we go any further, one rule that applies to both either and neither.
Which rule?
They always refer to exactly 2 things. Not 3, not 4, 2.
Either of the 2 roots works.
2 roots. Either. Correct.
None of the 3 restaurants impressed me.
3 restaurants. Not neither, none. For 3 or more, always any or none. Never either or neither.
So either and neither always 2. Any and none 3 or more.
Always. That one rule saves a lot of confusion.
So either one of 2 is possible, neither, not either, both excluded, rather a preference or something more than expected.
3 ideas, 1 thread running through the whole episode.
So let us start with either, and either has more uses than most learners expect.
The first, either as a determiner, before a singular noun. It means one of the other. Both options are available.
Either day suits me.
Monday or Tuesday, both are available. One of the 2. And the noun is singular, day. The verb is singular, suits.
Either always takes a singular noun and a singular verb. What if someone says, either options are fine?
Wrong. Either options, plural, noun, always wrong. Either option is fine, singular noun, always right.
Now, either as a pronoun. When either stands alone, no noun after it.
Do you want tea or coffee?
Either is fine.
Whichever, both are available, no preference. Either stands alone as the subject.
And either of us could do it.
One of the 2 of us. And verb agreement, formally singular. Either of these roots is fine. In everyday speech, plural is widely heard. Either of these roots are fine. Singular in formal writing, both understood in conversation.
Now, either or, the most common use. 2 alternatives, a choice between them.
Either you call me or I'll call you. Either you wait here or you come with us. She is going to either study medicine or law.
And there is a rule with either or that learners often miss.
Both sides must be the same grammatical form, parallel structure. Either study or play, both verbs, correct. Either study or to play, mixed forms, wrong.
And when either or joins 2 subjects,
Which verb do you use?
The verb agrees with the subject closest to it. Either John or Mary is responsible. Mary is closest, singular, singular verb. Either the director or the actors are responsible. Actors is closest, plural, plural verb.
The nearest subject controls the verb.
Every time. Now, either as an adverb, and this one has one very specific rule.
Which rule?
It only appears after a negative verb. It means also, but in a negative context. I don't like mushrooms. I don't like them either. She can't swim. I can't swim either.
The same idea as to, but for negative sentences.
Exactly. And in positive sentences, never either. I like it either, wrong. I like it too, right. Either after a negative, to after a positive.
And now, something about either that almost nobody teaches.
When either appears with location words, side, end, hand, direction, it does not mean one or the other. It means each, both, simultaneously.
Show me.
There were flowers on either side of the road, not one side, both sides, each side at the same time. There is a cafe at either end of the street, at each end, both ends. She had a bag in either hand, in each hand, both hands at once.
So either side does not mean one side or the other, it means both sides.
Exactly. And once you know that, sentences like these will never confuse you again.
Either as determiner, singular noun, singular verb. Either or, two alternatives, parallel structure, nearest subject controls the verb. Either as adverb after negatives only, and either meaning each or both in location phrases.
Now, neither. And the simplest way to understand neither is this. Everything either does, neither does the opposite.
Either says one of two is possible. Neither says not one and not the other. Both are off the table.
Which restaurant do you prefer?
Neither. Let's find somewhere else.
Both restaurants were considered and both were rejected. Not one and not the other. That is neither doing its core job.
Neither parent came to the school meeting.
There are two parents. Neither one came. Not the mother, not the father. Both excluded.
Neither as a determiner, always before a singular noun with a singular verb.
Neither answer is correct.
Two answers, both wrong. Singular noun, answer. Singular verb, is. The same rule as either, never plural.
And neither as a pronoun standing alone without a noun.
Neither of them came.
Two people. Neither one showed up. Not one and not the other.
Neither of us knows the answer.
Two of us, and neither one has the answer. Formally, singular verb. Neither of them is ready. Strictly correct.
But in everyday speech, plural is widely heard. Neither of them are ready. Both are understood. Use singular in formal writing.
Now, neither nor, the negative counterpart to either or.
Either or presents a choice, one option or the other. Neither nor rejects both completely. Neither the food nor the service was good.
So the food was not good, and the service was not good. Both rejected in one sentence.
Exactly. She speaks neither French nor German.
Not French, not German. Both languages excluded.
We had neither umbrellas nor raincoats.
Nothing to protect us from the rain. Not one thing and not the other. And the pairing rule. This one matters enormously. Either always pairs with or. Neither always pairs with nor. Never swap them.
Neither she or her brother came.
Wrong. Or cannot follow neither. It breaks the pairing entirely.
Neither she nor her brother came.
Right. Nor is the only partner for neither. Always nor, never or.
And the same parallel structure rule from either or applies here?
Exactly the same. Both sides of neither nor must be the same grammatical form. Neither studying at night nor waking up early works, both ing forms, correct. Neither studying at night nor to wake up early works, mixed forms, wrong. Both sides must always match.
And the proximity rule for verb agreement?
Same as either or. The verb agrees with the nearest subject. Neither John nor his colleagues were informed. Colleagues is closest, plural verb. Neither the students nor the teacher was ready. Teacher is closest, singular verb.
The nearest subject controls the verb every time.
Now, one more thing about neither before we move on. Neither is already negative. It carries its own negative meaning inside it, so it never needs a negative verb alongside it.
What happens if someone adds one?
A double negative, and that is one of the most common mistakes with this word. That trap and how to fix it is coming right up.
So, the double negative trap, and this is the mistake from the very beginning of the episode.
I don't like neither of them.
That was the first sentence in our challenge, and most people cannot immediately spot what is wrong with it.
Because it sounds natural. But here's the problem. Neither is already a negative word. It makes the sentence negative on its own. The moment you add don't, you have two negatives in the same sentence.
And two negatives cancel each other out.
Exactly. In standard English, one negative per sentence, never two.
So what are the correct options?
Two of them. The first, use neither with a positive verb. I like neither of them. Neither is doing all the negative work. The verb stays positive.
I like neither of them. The verb is like, positive, and neither makes the whole sentence negative.
The second option, keep the negative verb, but replace neither with either. I don't like either of them. The negative is in don't, and either simply means both in a negative context.
So both sentences mean the same thing.
Exactly the same meaning. Two correct paths. I like neither of them, or I don't like either of them. Both right, both natural.
And the one that is always wrong?
I don't like neither of them. Negative verb, don't. Negative word, neither. Two negatives. Always wrong.
Now, neither in conversation, because this is where it comes up most often in real spoken English.
When someone makes a negative statement and you want to agree, neither gives you a natural and elegant way to do it.
I don't like mushrooms.
Neither do I. That is the response. Neither, then the auxiliary, then the subject. The word order inverts.
Neither do I, not neither I do.
The inversion is required, always. Neither do I, neither can I, neither have I. The auxiliary always comes before the subject.
Let me try a few. I can't swim.
Neither can I. Can, the auxiliary, comes before I.
I haven't been to Paris.
Neither have I. Have, the auxiliary, before I.
I didn't enjoy the film.
Neither did I. Did, the auxiliary, before I. The auxiliary always matches the tense of the original statement.
And there are two more ways to say the same thing.
Yes, three ways to agree with a negative statement. Neither do I, structured and clear. I don't either, more conversational. Me neither, very informal, fixed phrase.
I don't like mushrooms.
Neither do I, or I don't either, or me neither. All three mean exactly the same thing. The choice depends on register. Neither do I is the most structured, me neither is the most casual.
And what about me either? You hear that sometimes.
Me either is common in casual American English, but me neither is the standard form, preferred in careful speech and writing. Me neither is always the safer choice.
And for agreeing with positive statements, the same system works in reverse.
I love pizza.
So do I, or I do too, or me too.
So replaces neither. The auxiliary still matches the tense. So do I. So can I. So have I. So did I.
Now, one more use of neither that gives writing real elegance. Formal inversion.
In formal written English and in speeches and polished professional conversation, neither or nor can connect two negative ideas with full inversion.
Show me.
He hadn't done any homework. Neither had he brought any books to class. Two negative facts connected formally. The second clause inverts. Neither, then the auxiliary, then the subject.
So neither had he, not neither he had.
Always inverted, and nor works the same way. We didn't reach our sales target last quarter, nor did our competitors. Nor, auxiliary, subject. Elegant, precise.
I have never broken a promise. Neither have I asked for anything in return.
That is the kind of sentence you hear in a speech or read in a formal letter. Neither and nor both carrying the inversion, both connecting two negative ideas with real precision and weight.
So, neither do I for conversation, neither had he for formal writing and speeches.
Same grammar, same inversion, different register. And once you know it, you will hear it in speeches, presentations, and formal writing everywhere.
Now, rather. And rather is interesting because it does more than one completely different job.
The first job, rather, as a degree adverb. It sits on the degree spectrum between quite and very. Slightly, fairly, quite, rather, very, extremely. Rather is stronger than quite, not as strong as very.
Like, the film was rather boring.
More boring than expected. The speaker went in with certain expectations, and the film exceeded them in the wrong direction. Rather signals that something is different from what was anticipated.
So rather is not just about degree, it carries a sense of surprise.
Exactly. That is what separates rather from quite. Quite simply means to a moderate degree. Rather adds the feeling of, this is more than I expected, or this is different from what I thought.
And it works with positive adjectives too?
Absolutely. That was rather brilliant. The speaker was not expecting brilliance and it arrived. Rather signals the pleasant surprise.
She is rather impressive.
Better than expected. The compliment is stronger because of that unexpectedness. And in British English, rather as a degree adverb is very common. In American English, pretty or quite tend to take its place.
Now, rather with verbs directly, without an adjective.
I rather like him. She rather enjoys writing. Rather sits before the verb and softens it, like saying, more than I might have expected, I find myself liking him.
It sounds almost reluctant, like admitting something.
Exactly. I rather like him. There's something almost surprised in it. The speaker did not expect to like him, but they do. And rather with nouns, the position of the article changes.
It was rather a good idea, or it was a rather good idea.
Both are correct. The first puts more emphasis on rather. The second is more neutral. Both are widely used in British English.
Now, rather than, showing a preference between two options.
Rather than introduces the option that is not chosen. The preferred option comes first. I decided to walk rather than take a taxi. Walking was preferred. The taxi was rejected.
She chose to email rather than call.
Email preferred, calling rejected. And after rather than, the base verb or the ing form, never to plus verb.
Rather than to take a taxi.
Wrong. Rather than take a taxi. Or rather than taking a taxi. Both correct, never to.
And rather can also open a sentence.
Yes, rather than waste time arguing, let us find a solution. The rejected option comes first, wasting time arguing. The preferred option follows. It gives the sentence a very deliberate, considered feel.
Rather than wait for the answer, she decided to act.
The speaker chose action over waiting, and starting with rather than immediately signals, I considered both options and made a deliberate choice.
And or rather, the self-correction tool.
Used to refine or correct what was just said, to make it more precise or more accurate. He is a doctor, or rather, a surgeon. Doctor was close, but surgeon is more exact.
I was tired, or rather exhausted.
Tired was true, but exhausted captures it better. Or rather says, let me be more precise. It makes speech sound thoughtful and careful.
Rather as degree, more than expected, positive or negative surprise. Rather than, the rejected option, preferred option first. Or rather, self-correction, more precise.
3 uses, 1 word. All about contrast between what was expected and what is real, or between 2 options, or between what was said and what is more accurate.
And now, would rather, the most common use of rather in everyday conversation, and the one with the most traps inside it.
Would rather expresses a preference. I would prefer this over that. But the grammar is very specific, and almost every learner gets part of it wrong.
Starting with the second sentence from our opening challenge, I would rather to stay home tonight.
That sounds completely natural, and it is wrong. Would rather is never followed by to. The base verb comes directly after would rather. No to in between.
So, I would rather to stay home?
Wrong. I would rather stay home. No to. The base verb immediately after would rather.
I would rather go to the cinema than stay home.
2 options compared. Cinema, preferred. Staying home, the alternative. And in natural spoken English, would always contracts. I'd rather stay home. She'd rather go out. We'd rather wait.
I'd rather have coffee than tea.
Coffee is the preference, tea is the alternative. And after then, again, the base verb. I'd rather have coffee than drink tea. Both base verbs, parallel.
Now, what about expressing a preference about someone else's action, not your own?
This is the structure almost every learner misses. When the preference is about what someone else does, the verb after the second subject goes into past simple.
Past simple, even if it refers to now or the future?
Even if it refers to right now. I'd rather you didn't smoke here. The speaker is not talking about the past. They're saying right now, in this moment, I prefer that you do not smoke. But the verb is past simple. Didn't.
Why past simple for a present meaning?
The past simple creates a softness, a distance. It makes the preference sound less like a command and more like a gentle wish.
I'd rather she came with us.
The speaker wants her to come, now or in the future, but came, past simple, not comes. That softening makes the sentence sound natural and polite rather than demanding.
I'd rather you called me in the morning.
The speaker would prefer a morning call, not an evening one. Called, past simple, not call. The preference is present, the verb is past. That is how it works.
And would rather in the past, looking back at something that did not happen?
Would rather have plus the past participle. I would rather have stayed home last night. The speaker is looking back at last night. They went out and now they wish they had stayed home. Would rather have stayed, the preference about a past event that cannot be changed.
I'd rather have taken the train than driven.
The journey is over. Looking back, the train would have been the preferred choice. Would rather have taken, past preference about a completed situation.
And I'd rather not, the polite refusal.
One of the most natural and most useful expressions in this whole episode. When someone offers you something or asks you to do something and you want to decline politely, I'd rather not is perfect.
Would you like to go first?
I'd rather not if you don't mind.
Can you work this weekend?
I'd rather not.
It is softer than no, less direct than refusing outright.
Much softer. It expresses a preference, not a refusal. The door is not completely closed, and native speakers use it constantly for exactly that reason.
Would rather plus base verb, own preference. Would rather plus second subject plus past simple, someone else's preference. Would rather have plus past participle, past preference. And I'd rather not, the most natural polite refusal in English.
Now, 3 fixed expressions that every learner should know, and each one is used constantly in natural English conversation.
Starting with either way.
Either way means regardless of which option is chosen, the result is the same. Both paths lead to the same outcome.
We can take the motorway or the country road. Either way, we will arrive at the same time.
Two options, two different routes, but the arrival time does not change. Either way, the result is identical whichever you choose.
Either way, I think we should leave early.
Whatever happens, whether it rains or not, whether the traffic is bad or not, leaving early is the right decision. Either way dismisses the choice and focuses on the outcome.
Now, neither here nor there.
Neither here nor there means irrelevant, not important to the current discussion. The thing being mentioned does not affect the main point.
I know you don't like the color of the walls, but that is neither here nor there. What matters is whether the building is structurally sound.
The color of the walls is a real thing, but it has no bearing on the structural question. Neither here nor there politely dismisses it without being rude.
The apology, real or not, does not change the situation. Neither here nor there shuts the door on that topic gently but firmly.
And rather you than me.
Rather you than me expresses two things at once, sympathy for the other person and personal relief that it is them and not you.
I have to give a speech in front of 500 people tomorrow.
Rather you than me. I am glad it is you doing that and not me. There is warmth in it. The speaker is not being unkind, but there is also honest relief.
I have been asked to work every weekend this month.
Rather you than me. That is a lot. The expression acknowledges the difficulty while making clear the speaker is quietly grateful it is not their problem.
Now, pronunciation, because this is one of the most debated questions about these words.
How do you say either and neither? Ether or either, neither or neither?
And the answer is both are completely correct.
Both pronunciations are standard English. Neither form is wrong, and neither form is more educated or more correct than the other.
There is a general tendency. American English slightly favors ether and neither. British RP is sometimes associated with either and neither, but both are heard everywhere in both varieties.
And there's actually a famous song about exactly this debate. George Gershwin wrote, "You say ether, I say either. You say neither, I say neither. Ether, either, neither, neither. Let's call the whole thing off."
The debate is so well known, it became a song.
So even native speakers cannot agree?
They never could. But the most important thing, whichever pronunciation you choose, make sure the TH sound is there.
The voiced TH, the same sound as in the, this, there.
Eater without the TH.
Wrong. The TH must be present. Ether with the voiced TH at the end. That is the only thing that matters. Ether or either, your choice, but never drop the TH.
Either way, same result regardless of which option. Neither here nor there, not relevant to the main point. Rather you than me, sympathy and personal relief. And ether or either, both correct, but never drop the TH.
Now, the mistakes. 4 sentences that go wrong constantly, and 2 of them we have already fixed during this episode.
Starting with the first one from our opening challenge.
I don't like neither of them. 2 negatives. Don't, a negative verb. Neither, a negative word. Both in the same sentence.
And 2 negatives cancel each other out. In standard English, 1 negative per sentence. Either use neither with a positive verb, I like neither of them, or use a negative verb with either, I don't like either of them. Both correct, both meaning exactly the same thing.
But never both together. I don't like neither of them, always wrong.
Mistake number 2, also from the opening challenge.
I would rather to stay home tonight.
Would rather is never followed by to. The base verb comes directly after would rather, nothing in between.
I would rather stay home tonight. No, to. The moment you see would rather, the next word is always the base verb. Always.
Mistake number 3.
Neither she or her brother came.
Or after neither, and that is the wrong pairing entirely.
Either always pairs with or. Neither always pairs with nor. The two pairings never swap. Neither she or, wrong. Neither she nor, right.
Neither she nor her brother came.
Nor is the only partner for neither in every sentence without exception.
And mistake number 4. This one catches even advanced learners.
I'd rather you don't smoke here.
That sounds completely natural.
It does, but when would rather refers to someone else's action, the verb after the second subject must be past simple, not present simple.
Why past simple?
Because the past simple creates a softness, a distance that makes the preference sound like a gentle wish rather than a direct instruction. I'd rather you didn't smoke here. That is polite, careful, considered.
I'd rather you don't smoke here. Present simple.
Wrong. Sounds too direct, too blunt.
I'd rather you didn't smoke here. Past simple.
Right. Soft, natural, the way a native speaker would say it.
And the same for I'd rather she comes with us.
Wrong. I'd rather she came with us. Past simple. Comes refers to now or the future, but the verb is still past simple. The tense of the preference does not change the rule.
4 mistakes, 4 fixes.
Double negative. Either, neither with a positive verb, or don't with either. Never both together.
Would rather to, never. Would rather plus base verb, always.
Neither or, never. Neither nor, always.
Would rather plus present simple for someone else, wrong. Would rather plus past simple, always.
And 2 questions that help with the whole topic. Are both options rejected? Neither. Is one of 2 possible? Either. Is it a preference about your own action? Would rather plus base verb. Is it about someone else's action? Would rather plus past simple.
And now let us hear everything working together in a real conversation.
The scenario, 2 friends deciding where to go for lunch. Both have preferences, neither likes some of the options, and they eventually settle on a plan, but not without some very natural back and forth about choices and preferences.
Let's go. So, where do you want to go for lunch?
I'd rather go somewhere close. I don't have much time today.
There's the Italian place on the corner or the cafe on Market Street. Either works for me.
Honestly, I'd rather not go to the Italian place again. We've been there twice this week already.
Fair enough. Neither of us needs a third visit. What about the cafe?
The cafe is fine, though I have to say, the last time I went, the food was rather disappointing.
Really? I thought it was rather good, actually.
Maybe I ordered the wrong thing. Either way, I'd rather try something different today.
There's a new place that opened on Bridge Street. I haven't been yet, but a colleague went last week and said the food was rather impressive.
I haven't heard of it either. What kind of food is it?
Mediterranean, or rather Middle Eastern. She said it was somewhere between the two.
That sounds interesting. I'd rather try somewhere new than go back to somewhere familiar.
Exactly. And it is closer than either of the other 2 places.
I'd rather you chose, though. I'm not fussy.
Then Bridge Street it is. Rather you than me making the decision every time.
Neither of us is very decisive, are we?
Neither of us is. Come on, let us go.
Let us pause there.
Did you notice how naturally either, neither, and rather appeared throughout that conversation?
Let us pick out a few moments. I said, I'd rather go somewhere close.
Would rather plus base verb. Go. The speaker's own preference. No to, no past simple needed because it is about the speaker's own action.
And either works for me.
Either as a pronoun. Both options, the Italian place and the cafe, are available. The speaker has no preference between the 2. Either stands alone and means whichever.
And the food was rather disappointing.
Rather as a degree adverb, more disappointing than expected. The speaker had certain expectations and the food fell short of them. Rather signals that gap between expectation and reality.
And I haven't heard of it either.
Either as an adverb after a negative verb. Haven't, negative. Either, also. The same idea as to in a positive sentence. I haven't heard of it either means me too, but in a negative context.
And I'd rather you chose, though.
Would rather with a different subject, you, and chose, past simple, not choose. The preference is about now, but the verb goes into past simple to create that softness and politeness. I'd rather you chose sounds gentle. I'd rather you choose sounds like a demand.
5 uses, 5 different functions, and in that whole conversation, did it feel like grammar?
Not at all. It felt like 2 people trying to decide where to eat, which, as anyone who has been in that situation knows, can take a surprisingly long time.
Either place would have been fine.
Neither of us would admit that at the time, though.
All 3 words dealing with choice and preference from different angles, naturally, effortlessly.
That is the goal, not to think about the grammar, to just reach for the right word because it feels right.
And that is exactly what today was about. 3 words, all dealing with choice and preference, but from completely different angles.
So let us lock it all in, fast.
Either. One of 2 is possible. Both options are available. Always refers to exactly 2 things. For 3 or more, any.
Either as determiner, singular noun, singular verb. Either or, 2 alternatives, parallel structure, nearest subject controls the verb. Either as adverb, after negatives only. And either in location phrases means each, both, simultaneously.
Neither. The negative mirror of either. Not one and not the other. Both excluded. Always refers to exactly 2 things. For 3 or more, none.
Neither nor rejects both options. Neither always pairs with nor, never or. Nearest subject controls the verb. And never a double negative. Neither with a positive verb or don't with either. Never both together.
3 ways to agree with a negative. Neither do I don't either, me neither. Inversion required after neither. Neither do I, not neither I do. And in formal writing and speeches, neither had he nor did they. The same inversion, a different register.
Rather, as a degree adverb, degree plus unexpectedness, more than expected, positive or negative, rather than the rejected option first, preferred option second, base verb or ing after it, never to, or rather self-correction, more precise.
Would rather plus base verb, own preference, no to, ever. Would rather plus second subject plus past simple, someone else's preference. The past simple creates softness and distance. Would rather have plus past participle, looking back at a past preference. And I'd rather not, the most natural, polite refusal in English.
Now, your challenge.
Tell us in the comments, would you rather learn English alone or with others? And is there anything about English that you'd rather not study? Use would rather in your answer. We read every single one.
And if this episode helped you, please share it with one person who is learning English right now. One share makes a real difference to this channel.
And subscribe to Say It so you never miss a new episode. Every new subscriber genuinely motivates us to keep making these for you.
We will see you in the next one. Take care, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.